Yo, what's up YouTube? It's coojuh here. Today we're going to be going through the Season 11 Legend tier list. This is my personal tier list for the current Legend meta and how I kind of see everyone stacking up against each other. Obviously, you might have a little bit different of an opinion, and that's all right. That's perfectly fine. But today we're just going to be running through how I personally would place the Legends in a tier list competing against each other. All right. Here we go. We've got the tier list pulled up. Let's go ahead and get started. We will go ahead and start off. We'll go ahead and start off with our brand new legend this season, which is Ashe. I think I'm going to put Ashe in A tier. I think she's a very strong legend. She has the potential for a lot of aggressive plays, especially her ultimate ability. People were kind of prepping her, making her out to be, when her abilities were announced, to be the Wraith killer. But I actually personally think that she didn't kill Wraith. I think she kind of killed Octane out of the meta. Her portal is more of an Octane. It's more like Octane's pad in use than it is like Wraith's portal. Ashe's ability is, we need to get to a place really fast. Let's do it, which is what the Octane portal Octane pad tended to be. I also think her passive is extremely strong. The ability to see death boxes all over the map is extremely helpful for looking for third parties, looking for KP, things like that. Her tactical is a little bit underwhelming, but I think the rest of her kit makes up for it and keeps her at A tier. And I think she's a very strong legend in the current meta. Moving on to Bangalore. I think Bangalore is about as B tier as it gets with legends. Obviously, she's made weaker by scan legends like Crypto, Bloodhound, and Sears. The fact that those characters have kind of fallen out of meta. I know Bloodhound's obviously extremely strong. Crypto is not really used very much at all. And Sears is pretty dead in the ground as well. Makes Bloodhound or Bangalore at least a little bit more viable. I think she's also very fun to play. But strictly speaking about abilities, I think that Bangalore is still very strong. She's a good passive. Her smokes aren't the best, but I think her ultimate can be good for kind of clearing out a way. So I think Bangalore is about as B tier as it gets. She's consistently been B tier almost every season. And I don't think that's really changed much this season. Okay, moving on. I had to find a new tier list because the one I was on didn't have Wraith for some reason. But we're back. Moving on to Bloodhound. I think I'm going to put Bloodhound in S tier. Just because I think he's probably on the lower end of S tier, but just the fact of how insanely strong his scan is and just how good his ultimate ability is to just consistently scan, and his tracking ability, especially for pubs and ranked. He's a little bit moving out of the competitive meta right now, but I think just for pubs and ranked, for general play, Bloodhound is extremely strong. He's extremely easy to play too. It's really hard to mess up, be a bad Bloodhound, but I think he's very easy to play. Moving on to Caustic. I'm going to put Caustic in low A tier. The reason being, I don't think he's extremely strong on Stormpoint. He's extremely strong in end games, especially, and the ability to kind of breach into a building. If there's a building you need to get into, Caustic's going to be the best legend to get into that building and take it. Moving on to Crypto. This is always a hard one to rank because I think that the gameplay potential for Crypto is extremely high, but almost no one will ever reach that potential as he currently is with his abilities. I'm going to put him C tier just because he's such a hard legend to play. He is probably the hardest legend in the game to play. His drone has extreme amounts of information gathering potential. Problem is, in fights, it's so difficult to be able to be coordinated with your team while playing Crypto. That's the main issue with him, is that even if you're in comms and Discord with your ranked team and you're playing Crypto, it's so hard and takes so much practice to fully use Crypto how he has potential to be used. That's the thing. A bad Bloodhound is so much better than a decent Crypto at gathering information. It's just, at that point, you might as well just use Bloodhound every time. Moving on to Fuse. The boy Fusey's been getting some love recently. He's been getting just buff after buff after buff, which is what happens when you release a legend that's absolutely terrible. But that being said, I think Fuse has moved up probably somewhere in the B tier range. He's not terrible. He counters Caustic pretty well. Being able to shoot those knuckle clusters in, activate the traps, and make him keep throwing traps is something that can be very annoying to a team. And the ultimate is not terrible either. I've actually gotten some situations where I was like, wow, the Motherlode actually did really well to kind of like ward me off that area or keep me contained inside there. Obviously, I play Wraith, so I can just kind of phase out of it. But if I was any other character, I probably would have died of just being stuck in the Motherlode like that. So I think he's definitely gotten some love, and he's definitely gotten some buffs that make him a viable legend now. I don't think he's terrible, or nowhere near how bad he used to be. Moving on to our boy Jibby. Jibby is very obviously still, in my opinion, the best legend in the game. He has fortified, so he takes less damage. He doesn't take stun from heavy weapons. He's got his arm shield, so he's got 50 extra HP. I mean, the man's just unkillable, honestly. I think his abilities are still the best in the game. The bubble is the ultimate lifesaver, and his ultimate obviously is extremely strong as well. Obviously, better airstrike than Bangalore, so I still think Gibraltar is the best legend in the game. and I think that he's going to need big changes for anyone to dethrone him of that spot up top. Moving on to Horizon. I think Horizon has definitely gotten some love from the devs. Her buff made her usable again, which is awesome. She was, at her launch, she was probably one of the best legends in the game. And then she got nerfed hard into season 10, I believe it was. She's about in between where she was at the start and where she was after the big nerf. So she's definitely usable again. She's probably in the low A tier range. I'll say high B just because I think that with the current meta, I think in pubs, she's probably still fun and still very good, and you can definitely get a lot of outplay potential. Her passive is probably the most fun passive in the game. And another reason why I think she's fallen down in the meta is that verticality is now going up against Valk's verticality, which I think Valk's is more versatile and I think more usable in more situations. Obviously, Horizon has verticality with her tactical, but Valkyrie having verticality with her passive ability as that jetpack, Valkyrie has a lot more outplay potential, which is why I'm putting Horizon in B tier, Valkyrie in A tier. Valkyrie has taken over the meta. You know what? We're putting Valkyrie in S tier. I think Valkyrie is an extremely strong legend. With how strong people have gotten with their positioning, Valkyrie is a legend that allows you to beat out that positioning and just fly over them. So Valkyrie's ultimate, it can be an absolute lifesaver. It can get you out of terrible positions as long as you're able to get out of there. Especially if you're able to throw a Gibby Bubble, you can just Gibby Bubble, Valk ult out of it, and you're completely safe. Her verticality is insane in fights. The ability to be on the bottom floor of a building, do some damage, and fly up to the third floor roof. That ability is absolutely insane in 1v1 scenarios or 1v2, 1v3, or just team fights in general. The ability to move up and down, play at your own pace. It has a lot of escape potential close to Wraiths. I think that Valk is absolutely up there with the S tier legends with the current meta. Moving on to Lifeline, I think Lifeline is probably in this C tier range. Now, don't get me wrong. I think Lifeline can be very good in scenarios where the fight is taking a while. I run into Lifeline a lot when I'm playing solo duos, and it's extremely annoying. I'll get one kill, and then I just hear a Lifeline res, and I can't do anything about it because the other Lifeline's still gonna be able to shoot at me while her teammate's getting resed. In situations against good teams and good players, Lifeline's not going to be very useful. They're going to be very good about getting their knocks and then getting their full kills. It's going to be very rare where you're actually able to get a Lifeline res off, especially with Gibraltar in the meta. You just throw the bubble down, pick the res up. Gibraltar's definitely still beats out Lifeline by a lot. She's very good in arenas, I will say that, but other than that, I don't think she's very strong in the Battle Royale. Moving on to Loba. Loba would probably go in the mid to high section of B tier. She's been starting to be played in ALGS, I believe, with Gibraltar and maybe Valk. I think some cryptos maybe thrown in there. Loba's starting to come into the meta a little bit more. I think her ultimate ability in situations where there are a lot of teams left and not a lot of space left, you can get a lot of loot without having to move from your position, which can be very good if you're running out of loot end game. That being said, I think that her other abilities are just kind of meh. And so for that reason, she's not the most versatile, and therefore I kind of keep her in B tier. Good old buddy Mirage. If you guys don't know, one of my buddies loves to play Mirage. I always joke with him that Mirage is the worst legend in the game. I don't know. His abilities are just so not team oriented. They don't really do anything to benefit the team. In fact, there's been times where I've seen Mirage ults that actually hurt my team. And so for that reason, I'm just going to put him in D tier. His abilities are fun. His quips are fun. Obviously he's very fun to play. And obviously Invisores is nice. And I will say that actually has helped in some scenarios. The Invisores is probably the best part of Mirage's kit. But other than that, I don't think Mirage is super viable in any kind of ranked scenario or anything higher than that. Octane is somebody that has been meta for a while now, and I think that he is finally starting to fall out of the meta. I don't know if he's fallen down to B tier yet. I think I'm still going to keep him A tier just because I think he still has potential to be good. I just think the meta has shifted so much. His pads are extremely loud now. His stim takes more health than he used to. He doesn't have as fast of a heal as he used to. Octane mains are probably all crying right now as I'm saying all this because they're going through PTSD. On Stormpoint, I don't think he's very good at all. I think on Stormpoint, you should absolutely be running an Ashe or a Valk or both over an Octane or a Wraith. Honestly, any of those three over Octane, I think is the move. You know what? I'm going to put him in B tier. I'm going to put him at the top of B tier. Because I think it's more of a meta shift than it is just a straight abilities nerf, but I do think he's been nerfed pretty hard to the point where he's not as good as he used to be. Moving on to Pathfinder, I think Pathfinder is probably a little bit above Octane in my opinion. I think he's more fun at times to play. Pathfinder has more versatility with his zipline. I think that his ability to scan beacons is really good. And then his grapple is just so fun. But I don't think he's strong meta by any means. Rampart got her big buff when she got her heirloom. Nothing much has really happened since. She's kind of a C tier legend. Sheila minigun is pretty easy to kill as long as she's not looking at you. You just walk up behind her. She's not really going to turn around in time and be able to wound that thing up and kill you. It's kind of just a free one clip, especially with the decreased mobility that it brings. The walls are very easy to shoot early on if you just break them. And I don't think she's very good at right now. Remnant's kind of the same way. I think that the best change, or one of the best changes Apex has ever made to Legend abilities is the big orb of whatever that Revenant's ultimate now makes. I think that's so good. I think that Revenant's ultimate now is like okay to be in the game because it makes this big thing of, hey, we're about to do something really stupid. I'd probably put him above Rampart maybe. I think his wall climbing can make for interesting fight scenarios, but I don't think he's by any means meta or strong, which I think is healthy for the game. I think Revenant causes people to make bad decisions and grief their game, grief other people's games. So I personally don't like Revenant very much at all, but I think that, you know, he's not terrible, but he's not great, to be honest. Sears kind of in that same weird boat. I'll put him at this top of C tier. Just because he's easier to play than Crypto, but I think that Sears at that place where if you're going to play Seer, you might as well just play Bloodhound instead. Yeah, Sears just not very strong anymore. All his abilities got nerfed once he was OP on Season 10 release, and people kind of played him for a while, and then he got nerfed. That whole kind of scan Legend meta is a little bit falling out. Obviously, Bloodhound's still up there. I think Sear's been part of that. So I'd probably put Seer around C tier, like high C tier right now, maybe into B tier a little bit. Moving on to Watson. Watson got a nice little buff. I'm probably going to put her at the end of B tier just to give her a little bit of love. She has potential to be good. She's situationally obviously still not as good as Caustic, nowhere near as good as Gibraltar. So if you're looking to defend a building and control endgames, Caustic is still probably going to be your better bet. I've had situations where Watson ult and fences were annoying. They have yet to really consistently get me killed, whereas if I run up to a building and there's a Caustic in there, it makes me take a second thought of, do I want to push this building or not? So that being said, I think Watson's okay. She might get another buff with her heirloom coming up soon, but I don't think she's insane by any means, and I probably keep her in B tier. And the last legend is Wraith. My personal opinion is that she's an A tier legend. I think that she is absolutely unmatched in her ability to get into fights, do damage, get kills possibly, and get out, obviously with that phase ability. It lets you not get killed by arc stars when you get stuck by them. It's just a really strong ability. That tactical makes her such an important role to have in the team as that entry frag. And obviously her portal for rotations is absolutely insane too. It can be a lifesaver for, we can't cross this field, we can't make this rotate, we need to get from this building to this building. Just portal it, like your whole team there safely. I think that Wraith's a super strong legend, and I would absolutely still consider it to be A tier in the current meta. So guys, there you have it. There is my current tier list of the legends in Apex. I think that obviously you have your S tier legends, your A tier legends, and then from there on, your BT legends are kind of like what you can sub in for, you know, different roles, similar roles, obviously, like maybe Octane or Horizon for Wraith or Ashe, Seer for Bloodhound. But again, those S and A tier legends are really what you want to be running. That honestly, any combination of those 6 legends, depending on your playstyle, would make a good team comp. I can't really think of a bad team comp with those 6 legends. Those are kind of what you want. That you've got everything in there. You've got your defensive legends, you've got your recon legends, and you've got your aggressive legends. So this is currently where I think the legends meta stands. Let me know if you guys have any differing thoughts in the comments. Obviously, some of these are a little bit on the fence of where they could go. So let me know if you guys have any differing opinions in the comments. Drop a like, subscribe, and let me know if you like the video. We'll get some more content out to you guys soon. Thank you guys for hanging out, and I hope to see you guys on the next one. Peace out, guys.